Africans are contributing tremendously to this country's economy, to this country's development. And many of us who have left our home countries, we are here now. We have brothers, we have sisters, we have children in this country. So when somebody asks me, where are you from? It doesn't matter anymore. What is important is which direction I'm going.
With the frustrating immigration laws last year, it saw a record number of 5 Africans run for public office.
We are willing and able to die for this country because there are Africans in the army who are dying for the defense of civil liberties of this country. Africans have a stake in this country. They vote, they pay taxes, they work here, they have children here. We are a part of America. When you are here, claim this country. Study hard, work hard, never forget where you came from. Always look at where you're going.
So we met with Sidique Wai, who was at the time the senior liaison officer under the outgoing New York Commissioner of Police, Ray Kelly. Sidique Wai was vying for the public advocate position.
In this country right now, in the city, there is 0 African representation at the city council, 0 at the state senate, 0 at the state assembly, 0 at the federal level. We can't. This is taxation without representation. We have to change that. And if you elect me as your public advocate, I will make sure that we bring a government that is truly inclusive, that gives people the right to participate.
Sidique Wai was one of the 5 candidates during the New York City Public Advocate Forum on African Immigrants, organized by the Cameroonian American Council and hosted by SaharaTV. He spoke on his role as public advocate should he be elected.
Millions of people here, thousands of people here who live here. My children were born here. My family is here. I have a stake in this country. I just want a fair share.
4 of these contenders vied for the city council position in District 16 of the Bronx. We went after them to find out what they thought about the immigration system in America. So during the campaign trail, we decided to follow some of the contenders who had actually stayed the course. And one of them was Dr. Bola Omotosho of Nigeria.
Prior to being a DV lottery winner, I had a very successful career in Nigeria as an anesthetist, working with the Nigerian Navy Ministry of Defense, and also moonlighting with St. Nicholas hospitals and several other hospitals for emergency cases of anesthesia.
Dr. Bola Omotosho outlined the benefits of the DV lottery program, citing himself as a positive example of what can be achieved should the program be allowed to stay.
I'm a living example of the positive things that DV lottery have done to this great country. And they will be able to follow through and say, well, the forefathers or whoever designed this program then did not make a mistake, which benefited Africans, and now we now benefited the country by now going through the process, clean record, and being able to do something and give something back.
So the only female contender in this race was Naaimat Muhammad, who also gave us a moment to speak to her and find out exactly how she was going to run this race.
I want to be a part of a movement that is reflective of the fight that we have to endure coming from these circumstances. Nothing is handed to you. Opportunities are not handed to you. Doors are not readily open for you. Some people are fortunate and they get it easy. And we all look at those people and we wish we were one of them. But the truth is, maybe 90% of us have to struggle so hard before we even get an iota of a chance. And this campaign is an example of that.
Naaimat Muhammad spoke on the role of African women in positions of leadership and how her campaign was an example of how to break the stereotypes.
While it's very unfortunate that only men are traditionally known to take on these types of positions. We do know that there's been much progress in history as far as women in leadership, women in profession, and it's my pleasure to be a part of bringing that to a culture, as you referenced, that probably is not as exposed to it. I am familiar with a few initiatives back home that seek to promote women in leadership, and so I am happy to be a female in government, community work, politics, and just, help to perpetuate more women in leadership.
The candidates also had the opportunity to talk about their track records.
When there was Hurricane Sandy in the city, everybody was saying, well, whenever something happens in developing countries, you see them sending monies. What did we do? We, under the leadership of the Congress, United African Congress, Give Them a Hand Foundation, faith-based organization, we mobilized over 350 volunteers from the UN throughout the city to say, hey, our neighbors are suffering. So we were in communities not taking pictures. We were in communities distributing food, trying to help people. That program, by the way, was one of the most successful programs. And at the end of that process, we also collected monies to give to people who were suffering.
I've brought a couple of attorneys together on pro bono basis to assist our young ones. Because when you find yourself in this country and they want to go to school, most of them in my district go to Bronx Community College because that's the only affordable school.
Right.
And in addition to that, these schools, the colleges, they don't discriminate. But unfortunately, they do not qualify for FAFSA or federal grants. But the other state loans, which is being passed, means that, yes, they'll be able to qualify for state funds and state funding. And they have turned out to be great citizens.
Naima outlined her goals.
My ultimate goal is to have something that serves all diversity. As I mentioned earlier, the goal of meshing together, really forming some kind of platform where we can focus on, again, identifying our similarities and celebrating in those, and identifying our differences whereby we can be cooperative in those. So for certain, I have to serve the needs of this growing population and help them assimilate as best as possible, because when they do good, the rest of the district thrives, and it kind of goes full circle.
Unfortunately, none of these candidates were elected to their desired offices. So in our pursuit to find out how African issues could be brought to the table, we met with community leaders who believed in creating commissions that worked closely with elected officials within their communities. This will all be in part 7 of our immigration update series, so stay tuned.
For the sake of this country, my people stick their necks out. There's no way they deserve to be left out. Doctors, nurses, teachers who all came here on diversity visas. So this message is for all our leaders. The African community needs us. To take away hope for our future, it would be robbery. So please reinstate the green card lottery.